Allow me to demonstrate why we modify our Escort timing belt covers. This is an engine mount. It is right in the way of this cover coming off. The only way you can get this cover off without modifying the cover is to take this engine mount out. To do that, you have to put a jack underneath of the engine, take out two harmonic balancer, I think these are harmonic balancers. Anyway, this balancing piece, you have to take out two bolts there, this bolt here, and the bolt through the center, while the engine is underneath of a jack stand, or the jack stand is underneath the engine, and then take the two bolts out that hold this timing belt cover in order to change the timing belt every 60,000 miles. If you modify them, however, two bolts and you're done. This is why we cut Escort timing belt covers like so that there's enough space and clearance so you can just grab the cover and pull it off, do your timing belt change, and be done. Back here with the Escort again, the 95. Got a leaky oil pressure sending unit. In other words, leaky switch. It's right, well, I don't know if you can see it right there. Oop. Let me get the camera closer here. Kind of difficult to get up in there. It's that guy right there. I've already unhooked the electrical connection that's in there. Not too much to see, and was able to pop it loose with a standard crescent wrench. However, that being said, I don't have enough room in here in order to actually get it off because of the oil filter, which is right there. My regular crescent wrench does not fit between the sensor and the filter. So I'm going to try a monkey wrench and see if that does it. Here's hoping. Back here with the Escort again, the 95. Got a leaky oil pressure sending unit. In other words, leaky switch. It's right, well, I don't know if you can see it right there. Oop. Let me get the camera closer here. Kind of difficult to get up in there. It's that guy right there. I've already unhooked the electrical connection that's in there. Not too much to see, and was able to pop it loose with a standard crescent wrench. However, that being said, I don't have enough room in here in order to actually get it off because of the oil filter, which is right there. My regular crescent wrench does not fit between the sensor and the filter. So I'm going to try a monkey wrench and see if that does it. Here's hoping. Alrighty, now if you're going to do it this way, I'm going to recommend you use vice grips. Vice grips was the best solution for me. You see there, the starter is, the backside of the starter prevents you from getting the proper socket on there. So unless you want to pull the starter out, which is disconnecting the battery, pulling 3 bolts, looks like in my case it might be 2 though, and fiddling with the starter and then fighting it back in, or you can drop the oil filter, which is a little bit easier, but that still doesn't give you the room for a socket. So if you're really looking to do this quick and without disassembling several integral components of the vehicle, vice grips seem to be the best way to do it. And you don't want to torque her in there too tight, I don't think, because the one that came out of there, I'm pretty sure is the factory. I'll show you that in a minute. But it looked like it was shooting oil out of the electrical connector side, perhaps. But there's lots of oil remnants. I mean, there's the starter covered in oil. There's the backside of the engine block, or oil pan, excuse me. Down low, we got lots of oil, fresh oil, shiny oil. But up high underneath of that sensor is dry, but all on top of the sensor is wet. So clearly losing oil there. The head gasket, this is a 250,000 mile car. You would be able to see the head gasket here. It's just underneath of the intake manifold, and it's looking good. It's actually, let's see if I can zoom in on this. The head gasket actually starts right there. Right there. Let's see here. Where that flat piece of metal touches right there. So that's actually the bottom side of the head gasket right there. So the fact that we can see the head gasket, and whoops, zoomed in a little bit too far there. We can see the head gasket. We don't have any fresh oil coming out of the head gasket. It's not head gasket, plus it's not mixing water, so looking good there. Something that did concern me, that this could potentially be my leak, is this is the transmission side. This is a manual transmission. There's a sensor here that seems to be covered in a lot of fresh oil. Not sure what this sensor is, but it's spewing oil all the way back here. And between the bell and the engine, I've got drips. So could be this sensor, could be further forward. I may have lost a main seal, which is not that bad to do, but it does involve dropping this transmission. However, or raising the transmission. However, that's all old oil. But this is new. So is it leaking there, or is it coming out of the switch up here, draining down and getting kicked up by wind and spraying it all over the bottom of the car? And it's not going very far down here. See, it's dry down here, but gets oily there. See, dry, 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 dry all the way back. So it's not a very intense leak, and leads me to think that might actually be it up there, the oil pressure switch. So we're going to turn her over while she's on the stand, see if it leaks, and go from there. And real quick, before we get on to the next segment, this is the original sensor that was in there. I noted that it was dry on the bottom, no fresh oil on the bolt, but seemed to be a lot of fresh oil here. This plastic cap was threaded on top. I accidentally cracked it while trying to take it off with the vice grips. And so it looks like it was shooting out from around this seal here, or perhaps further up where this bolt meets the sensor. Not entirely sure, but it definitely could have been from the back side here where the Teflon is supposed to seal it. You can see there's quite a bit of dark deposits there. Excuse me, phone. There we go. And there's quite a few dark deposits there on the bottom side where it could potentially have been leaking out from behind. So, on to the testing. Don't think that's right.